Okay. Hiya plastic people. Today we're going to continue with the Trident build. So we got up to where we're at the belts now. So we'll be starting with that. We'll follow the belt path in the manual. I will have to pull the CNC tap at least off a little bit to get that set because the belt path goes underneath and behind where it's secured. And then we'll follow this belt path, get it all wired or belted up with one side. I'll start go around, looks like the top will probably be easiest. So we'll start with the top belt, start on the right side of the CNC tap, loop it all the way around till it meets, snip it, pull it back out, cut one to the exact same length, and then run both of them back through to make sure that we're on the belt. Hopefully between this camera and this camera we've got a good enough view. I'll see if I can maybe get a little bit better. Might do this one here, might be the better. I'm going to be in the way as I run it regardless. There's not much of a way around that. So we'll see how well we can situate and work around the cameras and keep me from being in the way. Here is the belt that came with the kit. When I unboxed it, we couldn't see. Let's go to this one. But I was able, actually it looks like it's maybe two belts, but it does say that it's a Gates belt. So let's see. Actually doesn't look like I need to snip it. It looks like they've already cut it. So that's nice. Let's just make sure they're equal length. So they did send two different belts, and they're already cut. Let's make sure, let's see. Try to get it so they're equal here. And if I pull it through, they're not quite equal length. So let's make sure they're equal length. And then we'll snip it again. What I like to do, and this is of course optional, it's not a necessity to do it. But I'll take these little binder clips, line my belts up, make sure that they're even, and I'll just snap the little binder clip on. That way it holds that end in place while I pull through. And if you got a bunch of them, that'll fit. You keep pulling through, keep it even, make sure your teeth are lined up, which I don't know how well that'll come across on the camera, but you get here and put your binder clip on. That way as you pull it through, you can keep them nice and even. So by the time you get to the end, you're still even and you don't have to worry about it having fallen through. Now these little binder clips that I've got here may not be the best ones because they're pretty small. But I have some bigger ones, or if you've got something like a clothespin, just something that will hold both ends tightly enough. They don't have to be too bad, but something that'll hold it tightly enough that you can keep that tension on them and keep pulling through. So I've got some of the big ones here. These may be even better. Of course, I'll leave the little one at the top here. But the big one, much easier to span across the belts there. I don't have any clothespins, but those would work even better. Or I know there's some belt clips. See if we've got them in here. Belt clips for the 2.4 belts. I think I printed some out. I wonder those might work really well as well to hold this in place. Again, you just want to do it so that when you make sure they're snipped at the right length, that they are the same length the whole way across. Just so much easier to do that. And there's one of those printed belt clips, but I don't think it's going to be the right tool for this job. They're meant to hold when you have your 2.4. You can slip them in there so that it'll hold it together. So I'm just going to go with the binder clips. Looks like there's plenty of belt here. Let's see if we can get it. Make sure that the teeth are lined up well. See if maybe we can do it this way. I was hoping that I could use this clip from the 2.4, but that doesn't seem to be working. So we'll just stick with binder clips and do it that way. And I'm just going to stack them and keep the teeth aligned that way. Do that and you don't have to worry about the size anyway. Okay, so I've got the ends here, and they're not quite the same length, so I'm just gonna pull it as taut as I can and line the teeth up, and then just snip it. I took about 20 millimeters off, so about 2 centimeters, a little under an inch. But now they're the same length, so we can start running it through the belt path. Take my binder clips off, throw the big one back in the bag, throw the little ones back in the drawer, and we'll get that going. So, since we've already got two belts, now they're the same length. Let's take the tap. And I'm just going to pull the tap off of here. Did not realize I tightened that down so much. Maybe I got the wrong size. There we go. Now that looks like it's loose enough. Maybe we can just get these in. Nope. Looks like I'm going to have to take the carriage off. And let's look at the CNC Tap manual. It's this one here. So they show to grab it first, put the belts in, and then of course put it on. We're not using the micro switch. So let's go ahead and take the top two here out of there. It'd be nice if the bottom two had the same, or the top two had the same captive screw in as the bottom there. That would make it a little easier to just leave these top two in place rather than having to take them all the way out. So we've got the belt guides down here, or belt clips as well. I've got the tap off, got the belt clips down here. Let's get, so they've got a spot here. We'll just pull the belts through. They've got little grooves on the top so you can have that. Make sure my belts are the right way. We can't have the, got to have the label side the right way up. May have to give it a fold over so that when you push it through, it sits in there better. This thin one here, we'll give it a bit of a curl. And we'll pull it through a little bit. Right now, just to get it in here, I'm not going to worry about how much. I just want to get both belts in, and then we'll worry about how much. When we go to tighten down the other piece here. So we'll take our belt retention clip here, get it started. Now I'll pull these back, and since I'm going to start with this side, I'm going to get it pretty close. They do need to be even. They don't necessarily have to be even with the front here, but I want to have the same number of teeth coming off that back side, and that looks good there. May have to kind of adjust here and there. And again, binder clip can work for you right here. Just put your binder clip on where it's even. And tighten your retention clip down. Take that off. We'll take our binder clip off and make sure we're still even, and it looks good. Make sure they're seated in there well. So now we're tightened down. Go back here. They show to pull it all the way through, but you can't really pull it through. So I'm going to just lightly put it on with the bottom two screws here onto the carriage, just so that we can thread the belts through. I might go ahead and add those top ones as well, just to make sure. I don't want it to fall off on me. And it's got a nice tight nice strong magnet at the top here, so get a screw out of there. When I go to secure this, I'm going to put Loctite on there as well. So now, since we've got them both on, I'm going to actually start with the bottom. And that will be right here is our belt pathing. And you may have to give it a little bend to get it to go where you want it to. Just pull it all the way through, make sure we're still straight. And this one goes on the bottom. So that's going to go through here. And again, I'm just going to pull it to the front. keeping it in the right orientation the whole way through. Sometimes it's easier said than done. And then on this one, you want to make sure that it is on the bearing stack behind. And then we'll run it to the back. I'm going to just keep it kind of pressed against the side here. All right. Give that a loop around there. There we go. So again, we're going to make sure that it's on this bottom, riding on that, and then when this one comes straight across, we make sure that it's facing the right direction. I'm going to go in here and around the pulley. I'm just going to pull it through. Sometimes it's easier. Pull it through there. Use one of your tools that you got if you need to. Kind of guide it to the right direction. Go. And I can tell I'm on the teeth there, so that's good. And we'll make sure that it's on this bottom one as I get it pulled through. There we go. I won't be able to see here very well. On the inside, this one's going to go at the bottom on the carriage. See if we get a good enough angle here. I don't think so. And I got a twist in there. I think I got it out. There we go. Give it a good pull. Make sure we're still on all our pulleys and all our bearings. The front is always the real fun one. It looks like again, if you got to use one of your drivers or something like that to help kind of guide it to the right place. Maybe take out these screws here. They don't need to be in yet anyway. They're just for your tensioning later. Pull it through, and you should be able to guide this back in. There we go. And now we've got good movement through this last one here. There we go. So that is our bottom run. Nice thing is, we don't have to worry about pulling it back out. Just the one run is all we need to do with it, since they're already cut. That's I'm not going to complain about that. All right, so we're going to get this top one done. We'll run it through this one here. You don't have to pull it all the way through, I guess, but to me it's just easier and helps keep everything in line better. Now we'll get this one here. That is going to go the outside first. Yeah, I'd much rather make sure that my belts are not tangled or twisted along the way, rather than get all the way through, find it's twisted at the beginning, and then have to pull everything back out. Now here I'm just going to go ahead and run it behind the carriage, and then once I get behind this carriage and pull it, I will pull the whole thing through. There we go. Now we're good there. And you can't see it on the camera because it's hidden by the frame, but there's holes here to run the belt through. And again, I want to make sure to keep that bottom one on that bottom, and the top on the top. Now this is going to wrap in here, around and in, not around this piece. And then we'll pull it through. Keep it nice and neat and straight. There we go. We need to go around our gear, our tooth idler. And you want to come out this other side here. There we go. sure you're on your toothed idler. And then now we come across, and now we'll stay on the outside where it's got a little cut, indentation there for the belt. So we'll stay on that side. Okay, make sure we're all good on our lines here. I'm still off right there. There we go. And we can flip it. Again, we should have a room right here at the top. I'll push it back a little bit though. And then this goes on the inside here. It only needs to run all the way to the front on the side that the adjustment is. There we go. So now we should be able to pull it and be tight. Put that back in. Get it somewhat tight. Try to get it even here, and then I'll stack them and add my binder clip. And this is just, I just want it on here. Need one of my big ones. I just want it on here to hold it so I can check the path around. I'm not worried about it being tension, but I can see I've got my top here going here, my bottom going under. Top is coming into the adjustment idler. On the back, we've got, hold that top tighter. All right, so on the back, bottom, going all the way across into here. I can see that it's on our toothed idler fine, our tooth gear here, going on the bottom. Belt path there looks good. We can't see this side because of the frame. Our bottom's coming in here, our top's coming in here. So we should be good to now pull it through here and get our belts at least hand tight for now. I do not see my other belt clip, so I must have knocked it off. Oh, there it is. All right, so what we'll do here, I'll pull the CNC tap off again. Grab my thread locker. So we know we're even on this side here still. Let's get our top, right, yep, top. We'll get it fed through here. Again, just give it a little bend over and there we go. Make sure it's all nice and straight. Don't want that twist in there. Same with this one. There we go. So now we've got that done. I will say one thing, I would like to have had a way to have done the belts without, while this carriage was already on, rather than having to deal with it being off like that. Now they show in their manual to do this without it on there, but I'd rather have the carriage on the, at least mounted. I'm not going to tighten these down yet, but get it on there, and then I can pull these a little more tight before I get my retention on there. And then I'm going to leave it loose. Make sure this side's tight though. Leave it loose. And then I'm going to manually tension by pulling it as best I can. Doesn't need to be perfect because we've got tension screws. But I do like to tighten them up a good bit while I can this way. Less to tension later. Now, because I've got so much extra length here, let's pull it and make sure we're still the same length, and I'm somehow way off on the top. So I want to double check my belt pathing and make sure that we are not sitting on something we shouldn't be, that it is wrapping the correct way through everything, which it looks like it is. And it could just be maybe the belt on the bottom piece is off a little bit of something, or maybe I had them in, incorrectly or in are not evenly tensioned. Double checking my belt as well. Make sure both top and bottom are good. Everything looks good, so let's pull back. And as I'm moving the carriage around, of course, it's going to do a little different. And now we're even again. So I want to make sure we stay even. Pull that and stayed even. I like the tension on that, so I'm going to tighten it down. Make sure we're still even. Still even. Now, we need to tighten this down, and we want to go cross threads, you know, or in a cross pattern, because we want it to be even. On this, especially with the CNC part, doesn't have the give that you would get out of a plastic piece. So that looks like it's good. Moving nicely. I've actually got some decent tension as it is. Now, let's see if they show in here anywhere to tuck belts, because I don't want to cut them flush in case we have to do any kind of maintenance that gives you no room to play. But I don't see anything saying where to tuck it. Okay, so I'm going to cut it and leave probably 10 to 15 millimeter at least, maybe a little more. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but you do want some extra there to kind of play with. And again, I'm going to do my best to cut it even. I don't want them to be different lengths. So if we do have to pull them out and put them back, they're the same length, and we can make sure that they stay the same length throughout the whole path. So I am going to put these two screws right here, the M3x5s, are those already in. I need to put the M3x12s here in and leave the 2.5 mil gap. So that's these here. Let's see which one will fit it. That is this one here. And those are going on these two here. And this is what is going to hold the Clockwork 2 when we get that on. And I can probably grab that piece and make sure. I don't want them loose, but I don't want them too tight. That would be the bottom piece, which I know I printed it. But right now I'm not seeing it. Oh, I've got some heat sets I've got to do as well. There it is. So this is going to go in here. And it's more to just hold it, you know, give it a good place to land, but I still want to have, still don't want it to be too loose when it goes in there, and I should be able to reach in and kind of tighten them up after the fact as well. Okay, so that should be our belts. We need to snip these. And I don't know if I'll ever use that shorter belt, but I'm not going to throw it away because you never know. Maybe I'll find a reason to use it. Hey Eric, greetings from Tennessee. Hope your weather's nice enough up there, because I saw it was looking pretty bad in places north of us. All right, so my belts are even. That would be a good spot for those, almost for these clips from the from the 2.4, if they'd fit on there. Just kind of slip it on. I might have to print a couple out for this build too then. But that looks like a good length. That'll let me do maintenance on it. So I've got a couple teeth off on this side, and it looks like almost an inch over here. So we should be good on our belt pathing. I don't know how well that comes across on that camera. Let's see if we can turn it this way. You can kind of see the two belts here. They lay over really nicely, so that's good. All right, so looks like it is time to build the stealth burner and the clockwork. So this is all taken care of by the tap. We've got all our belt path run. And again, this is taken care of by the CNC tap. Let's double check our work. I think this was the better camera for that. So on the back, black belt on black frame, not the easiest to see, but on the back here, you can see we coming on the back and under. So you can see the picture there, we match it, and then on the other side, we match the picture as well. All right, so scroll down. We're using tap, so the inductive probe is not needed. There's any of that. We're not using Hall effect, so that's out. All right, so they're onto the print bed. We'll go ahead and put it together, but I'm not going to actually put it on the printer yet, just because it's a decent amount of weight that I don't need on the printer. But we'll go ahead and put the parts together. I do already have the magnet on. I've got the heater on. I'll show you that in a moment. We're using tap, so the end stop is not needed. That tap will be our end stop. So we need to do this one here with the Wagos. They've got 3. I think I printed that same piece out. So you should have in and or your power going up, your positive and your negative, and then your positive is going to also have the fuse on the one side. So let's get that. We'll move the printer out of the way for now. Let's see how well we can get with the good camera. I think we can probably take this out, although the black may not be the best color to see some things. So we need the one with 3, which is there. The kit did come with the Wagos. I just have to remember where I put them. Thought they were in this box with all the other pieces. If not, I've got Wagos. I do remember seeing it. Maybe they're in the bag with the electronic or with the wiring. Yeah, here you go. There's the Wagos and the kit with all the wiring. Yeah, it's been humid here and rainy the last few days, so it's not raining today. Initially they were saying it was going to. I'm not going to complain. All right, there's our Wagos. It came with the 3 2 pieces, and then it came with 3 5. These will be for the electronics enclosure underneath, which I believe I've got a Wago, a corner mount piece for those right here. Might as well go ahead and put these in there. That way I don't have to worry about where the Wagos are at. They can just snap right in here and they'll be ready when I need them. There we go. I need to look into the possibility of getting like a 3mm clear plexi sheet cut out for the bottom rather than the black piece that came with the kit, since I'm doing the inverted electronics. I think that just looked really nice to be able to see down there. Maybe even put some LEDs in there, light up just the electronics during a print. And that reminds me, I don't have a light on it, so it might not be easy to view, but I did get the salad fork fixed. Finally, got boop on it, and it's working. I was able to get a print this morning. I would love to have shown that, but since I had never done boop before and I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go together, I didn't want to just, stream me fumbling through things. I figured I'd wait until I actually know what I'm doing, at least have a modicum of what I'm doing before I try to tell other people and show them how to do it. And it looks like my tolerances are really tight on this particular piece. They are not fitting in well. And let's see, I've got those too. And more Wagos. Because we do have, let's see, trying to remember, we've got power, positive, neutral, and then we've got 2 for the thermistor. Here's the bed. Got the magnet on, not the greatest silicon job, but it's there. So we've got, I don't have an end stop to worry about. I've just got to do the power for the bed and this one. So that should be, and they put ferrules on here, just not with hoods. This one here, I'll snip this someplace up here. So we'll have 2 Wagos for that, 2 Wagos for that, and 1 Wago, so we need 5, I think. If I'm counting right. 5, and they show, I just look at the salad fork, it's the same printer, it's just small. So that's all I should need is 5. Your bed power in will loop from one to the next, and because you'll have your well, no, I think it's only 4. Let's go with 4. This one is a mains powered bed, so I do have the thermal fuse on it. On the salad fork, it's 24 volts, so I didn't mess with the thermal fuse. Well, if I need to take these out of here, I'm just going to cut the ABS. They're going in kind of tight. There we go. That one's not all the way back. There it is. Yeah, so we should have bed positive, bed neutral, and then your one each for the 2 thermistor lines. Because I've already got the fuse is already wired in series, so there's no need to go through a Wago for the fuse. And that last one's not sitting quite all the way. So they sent 3 in the kit. I've got a drawer full of them, in my little parts organizer, so definitely something nice to have around the house regardless. Anytime I wire in a light or anything like that, I use a Wago rather than the old twist-on wire nuts. These are just so much easier to use, and they seem to be a lot more trustworthy. I've never had one of these fail where I've reached in a couple times to pull out a wire nut and the whole wire nut just slips right off in your hand because it's not actually connected. It's not doing its job. These I always test to make sure. Stick it in, slap the lever down, and make sure it's locked in. Give it the tug test. Well, the 2 on the end seem to be sticking out a little further than the others, but they all are in there. All right, so we got the Wagos in. It shows 3, I'm using 4. So now we want to do our extrusions. So I've got the last 2 extrusions here. Move the bed out of the way. Okay, then it says an M5 by 16. That would be these here. Need one of these. I believe that's this size. That is going on the short one. There we go. It says M516. It just seems like a long bit there, but okay. Slide it in. took my clamps downstairs, so I do have my squares, just not my clamps. But I think that'll be good enough. Make sure that we need 175 millimeters. So we are 175 right there. Give it a tightening, and let's make sure we're still 175. And we're still 175, good. All right, so we're tight and we're square. All right, there is our bed frame. So we need an M3 T-nut and 2 M5s on each arm. So I've got the M5s here, but an M3 needs to go in first. And they show the screw hole pointing towards the outside. On each one. So those are M3s. I need 2 M5s per, so 6 total. Just happened to be how much I grabbed, and it looks like those are both facing out as well. So now we've got 2 M5s and an M3 on each there. So now we need, let's see, 2 M3s on one side and 2 M5s on the other. So we'll do 2 M3s here. And those are pointing inward, it shows. So we've got one there, and the second one, both pointing in. I'll worry about actual spacing when we get to that point. And then on this other side, 2 M5s, or 2 M5 T-nuts. And they show one in, one out. Slip one in, and then turn that one out and slip it in. All right. So we've got our 2 M5s there, 2 M3s there. And now we're going to do the GE5C bearings and M3x6s. So put that to the side. I've got all those pieces here. And here's my GE5Cs. There we go. And then that's going to take care of the 3. I'm sure it's just going to say do the same thing 3 times. Yep. And then M3x6s. Now these are threading into plastic, so we don't want to over tighten them and strip out that plastic. What did I do with, there it is. Get the right bit for my iFixit. These are the sides that broke on my other drivers. I do have a replacement set of a better set coming. But until they get here, I think the iFixit will work fine. Let's see. We can move this one down and do a better angle. Maybe? Okay, is that working now? We'll just have to deal with it being wired. Won't be the closest, but it should work now if you guys are hearing me. All right, let's try this again. So, measuring the pieces. See if we've got good light. So we're at 232 millimeter, which I don't think the light's good, but this is the right piece according to the bomb. But when I go to put it in here, I'll move the camera in a second. You can see it doesn't quite fit. But we're fine up here, just not at the back. Yeah, the mic's going to have to sit on the desk too, because it's I don't have a long enough USB-C cable that's not in use. So it might get a little in and out as I move around and try to figure out best way to approach this. Because it's the extrusion that's too long here, but it's the right extrusion. It's the right length extrusion, it's just not fitting in here. And because it's the extrusion, I can't just move the printed part in or out to make up for the difference. And the two front printed parts move in and out, but they don't move the way I need them to move. But that extrusion is right there as well. And I've got at least half a centimeter too long. Oh, well, let's just go on to the next steps. I wasn't going to mount the bed anyway, and I'll figure out what I need to do with this to get it mounted, and we can do that let's see, on the next stream, which will be not next week but the following. I'm on vacation next week, so we'll be don't know what we're doing yet. But we won't be here. So let's see what we get on the assembly manual for the next steps. Alright, so the next step is afterburner, which we're not doing afterburner, we're doing stealth burner. And I thought I had it bookmarked, but I don't. I guess I could have just hit there is a link on the main page direct to it. And I probably already had it downloaded. Alright, stealth burner. This I do need, I had to print one piece out for the SB2240 board, so I do have to do some heat set inserts. Move the frame out of the way. So this piece here, move this down here and let's see if we can get a better view. Let's see if this is better or can be better. There we go, that'll be better. As long as the chat doesn't get in the way. All right, so I've got that piece. This is basically the same piece, but this is the Voron piece, and this is the Big Tree Tech piece. So I need to change tips on my soldering iron to my insert tip and salvage those 3 inserts. Salvage those 3 inserts, and then we'll take 3 from this piece here and put them on this piece in the same spots. And I'll just set the iron in there for a few seconds, and then I can just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and should just come right out of there. We're just going right into another piece. And then just use my square for the pushing it in there. My ironing or soldering station is actually sitting on the floor here, so a little tight on the cable. And this extra bit, that's not a big deal that there's extra on there. It's the same color anyway. Still a little proud because this piece is higher. There we go. One last one, and that's the one that'll go in the side, which you can see here. It melted the plastic because it's so tight to put it in there. So the Big Tree Tech one actually, that piece on the side, here, this piece is not as tall, so that piece is not in the way and doesn't get melted. Alright, I think that is all I need on those. At least that thing heats up nice and quick. So, oh, and sorry I didn't say it. Hi, Oscillating Guy, or Oscillating Decay, and Warfox. And thanks for the text, Alex. I didn't realize it was, didn't realize the sound had stopped. Guess I need to make sure my battery's charged every week then. Alright, so those are done. That piece is no good. Now I've got the other heat sets already in. The parts were no different. think that's the next step that I don't have already done. This one. So let's find all of our parts that we're going to need. I've got some already here. And here's the extruder set. There's got to be some white pieces. There's got to be some accents. I think that's it. Oh, we don't need that. Which also means we'll need that. And I think the Nomi's in here. So, no, this is, oh, that's the BTT. That's the pie. That is the SB2240. And this one has the little Nomi as well. All right. So we need an M3 by 16. She's here. All right, and then that is going to these two parts here. I think, yeah, camera's good enough. That way, and this one just snaps in here this way. And there's a heat set on this side that will pull them together, and hopefully my tolerances are good enough. Might be a little tight. The glasses are too far away, but looks like I need to show you. I keep these cheap, just nail files, pick them up cheap, dollar store, or Walmart, or someplace like that, and they work great to kind of sand down just a little bit of these, if that's all you need to do. A little tight fitting in right there. These were all printed on the Prusa, so they should all fit together. They should all be on the same tolerances. Might be the new kit for the screwdrivers. Somebody's at the door now. And Amazon almost never rings. These parallel jaw pliers can come in really handy for a lot of different tasks. These things are great. They aren't cheap though. There we go. Alright, and then our M316 goes in here. I guess I could have reamed that out a little bit. Don't plan on taking it apart unless I'm putting a new extruder on anyway, in which case I'll be salvaging all the parts. at least all the metal parts. Alright, and it's into that. Nice and tight in there. So we're good there. Still has a little gap. Doesn't want to seat any further though, so it should be good. Okay. Now that's done. Now we need to get our pieces here. Alright, let's see if we can stand this up a bit more. Maybe get a little better angle. I think that might work better. Okay. Here's the pieces, came in this nice little cup for the extruder. We need these two bearings and this one rod. And in the manual, it does say to use a light grease. So that is going into this gear here and go in this way. So what I'll do, I've got my grease from my linear rails. Put a little bit on here. Maybe put a little bit on here. There we go. Alright, that should be good. That's going in this piece here with the gear this way. And I'm not going to complain about the tight tolerance there. I'm going to complain about having the grease on my finger. It should just either snap in, or sometimes you gotta kind of push it from one side to the other. There we go. And then get it somewhat even. And it spins freely. That should be all the grease we need for this build. I'm expecting this little tube will last me a good while, because you don't need a whole lot at any point in time. Alright, so we are lined up. Alright, so that's now going to clip into the other clip, so that's easy enough. That is this piece here with the spring. Goes on your little nylon washer. do not want to lose this little tiny grub screw. And that'll go on there, and this piece has a heat sink in it, or a heat set in it. And you want to watch your orientation, make sure the clip is up, and there's also a little key here. Real difficult to see on camera, especially with the white filament. There we go. So that's together. Now we want to build the motor plate. That's going to be the two bearings that are in the cup still, and this piece here. So I just threw the grub screw in there. Throw the bearing on the floor, that works. Alright, I'm putting the grub screw back in because it's tiny. Barely saw it in there. Both of these little bearings are going to go on here, one that side and one that side. And we take our motor plate, which is this piece here, and I believe it goes this way here. One bearing on each end. There we go, so that moves. Yeah, I'm not going to use the thread locker, they say. So they say to test your bearing fit on this other piece. Didn't have any problems on the main piece. Then they say to use thread locker on the M3x6 flathead there, but this is ASA, and ASA and thread locker, depending on the ASA, they may not work together. Normally it'll degrade and make ABS brittle, and ASA is very similar in composition. So if it'll make the ABS brittle, it may do the same thing and degrade the ASA. So I am going to skip the thread locker. The bearing is in there. All my drivers here are magnetic, and the bearing now fits and it's perfectly in there. And I need a M3x6 flathead, which they do have. A whole bunch of these. I don't know where else it's needed. And that goes in this little hole here that's got the recess. Right, yeah. Doesn't seem to be biting though. M3x6 flathead, and that's the right hole. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be biting in there. I hear it snap into something, but it doesn't seem to want to bite. It also does not seem to be, they show it on their picture, sticking out from the but that's already buried in there. So I wonder if the M3x6 is just not long enough. That's all I've got here. I might have an M3 8 or 10 in another box. I'll look for it later. That's to adjust your distance, if I remember correctly. Okay, so we'll go on to the next step. and I'll look for that later. So they show the Bondtech gear 15.6 millimeter, and it says the final position is set later. Anyway, the gear's already on that shaft, so I'm not too worried about it. I wonder if they use thread locker in there. Probably not. Does not look like it. So let's put a little on. And well, that'll work, I guess. 15.6 millimeter from the base. I need to go a little bit less. Just a hair less. If I use the right driver, it'll work better. That's close enough for now, and we'll adjust it later anyway. Okay, I did put thread locker on there. I'm not making it. It's somewhere between 15 and 16 millimeter right now. That's close enough for me, especially since we'll adjust it later. So I've already got it on the back plate, so now we can put that mid plate on, and we're M3 by 25s to put these two together. So we have these two, and we'll go in here. And I heard it snapping together, so that's good. And it calls for two M325s. Just the M320, M316, M330. Alright, I don't see any M325s in my box. Alright, I don't see any M325s there, so let me grab it out of another box. M325s. Alright, and this is together. The M325 is going to go in this hole here and this hole here. So we want this one and this one. I think nope. We don't want to over tighten this one because you can see how there's room, and that's where our clip's going to have to go in to hold the pieces together. So that looks like it's in nicely. It's not too tight, it's slipping in and out. That's good. And then this one here can be tightened more because there's no gap between the plastics. have movement on our wheel, right? We'll have to adjust this. That is a bit tight. That's better. Get our grub screw in case we need to adjust. Yeah, it's not quite snug, but it's pretty close. And now I need to test the filament. Let me grab a lighter colored filament. Natural ASA from Polymaker. This will be a great one. We'll be able to actually see it in there against that blue and silver. So I don't know if you can see it. There we go. If it'll focus. Try to get it. Okay, there we go. So you can see there, it's lined up good. I don't need to mess with that. And having the white, the white's loaded in the Prusa currently, so I didn't want to have to unload it just to snip off 6 inches or so. So we got a nice alignment. And that's showing, they're showing check the alignment first and then use a piece of filament. I've got, you could always use one of the Allen wrenches I've got. That's how I've done it in the past, but they're black. A lot harder to see in the dark area like that than the white filament. Okay, so clearance looks good. We're lined up. I like that there's not as much, there's more room here than there is on the mini stealth burner. That's for sure. So all my clearances look good. All right, so now we get to put a little more together. So this piece here is going to go in to here, and that goes in. It's been a while since I've put one of these together. Should go in right here. There we go, lined up. This is a snug fit. All right, so that's there. Another M325. Okay. Maybe I put them in the wrong spot or something, but I don't see M325s in that kit. Let's bring this one back over and keep it close. And that one has a heat set matching as well. Let's pull that out, and I am going to ream this one out just to make sure that it's not too tight, because it felt like it was too tight. And that is, the screw is a hinge here. It's not it doesn't need to screw into this piece anyway. So this piece here, you want the screw to kind of just be in there, just acting as a hinge. You don't want to screw into the plastic here. So we got that. Get it back in there. And line it back up. And we should be able just to ream out the blue part. Make sure we're sliding in. Now we're in business. Alright, so we'll get it lined up. There we go. And down, I want it nice and flush because we've got more pieces to put on. There we go, and that hinges nicely. Good. It says do not tighten. It needs to move freely. It moves freely. And another M325. I can't see them missing this many. 2, yes, but this is now 4. So I'm wondering if maybe I just misplaced them over the over the last handful of weeks, months, however long it's been. All right, so we're now going to put this piece here, and the white is not the greatest. That's going in here. And I'm going to make sure this piece is pushed all the way up. There we go. And there is again a heat set there. Just make sure we ream this one out. Oh, that one's fine. Nice and loose. And that'll go into this middle one here, which that'll ream out. And that's fine. So let's get this in here. So that's good. Good there. Just getting the holes lined up so that they will slide through there. Definitely nice and tight. All right, let's see if we can do it without that piece in the way. There we go. Now, can I get it in there? Yeah, feels like it caught. All right. There we we go. And again, I'm gonna set it flush. This one doesn't need to be too tight either, just because it's just a hinge for this piece. And that's not quite catching on there. There we go. It'll wear down a little bit and be easier in the future to latch and unlatch. I should be able to feed that in there, and there it goes. So that's good. All right. Anti-squish thingamajig. That's that M3x6 flathead. And I don't know where my flatheads are. There we go. So, they say to open it up, pull it out, and oh, there's a spot there to do that one. Okay. So, let's undo that so we can get to that. So I've got M3.6 and then an M3.10. I think an M3.10 may be too long. I don't see anything where it would get in the way though, so I think we should be all right. And then I can barely see it through the little window there. Let's get it down. It's about snug. So let's tighten this back in. Which is a little tight. Oh, and you can't see what I'm doing. So there is, here you can see I put the screw here in. You can see it through that little window, and then you've got a little spot here where you can go in and tighten and loosen that up. And that just keeps the white piece from getting too tight, in case you've got like a flexible material or something similar that is very sensitive to such. Alright. I don't want to break another one of these here. this one feels too tight. It should just open up like it is. The little shuttle's too tight in there. It's not moving back and forth like it should. Uh-oh. Let's see if that loosens it. No. Alright. Looks like I gotta take this apart to get the shuttle out. Now everything's still in alignment, so there shouldn't be a problem with any of that. But that shuttle is definitely stuck in there really good. I want to say that when I redid my 2.4, I had the same problem where it was just too tight in there. Oh, well, that's the problem right there. That M3, that 10 mil is too long. $10 mil too long, and I don't have a flathead 8. So that was what the problem was. It was digging into it. Let's see about this M36. Now that I cut some threads. Well, again, it's too short. It's fully in there before it's even screwing in, so there's no way that's gonna keep it from moving. Yeah, that's too tight though. And I can see it there where there's blue on that line. All right. Test it again. Yeah, it's just way tight in there. So we'll just sand it down a little bit. See if that helps. still shows it's charging the battery, so I'll just leave it there for the time being. Alright, so that's sliding in there a lot better. Not quite going all the way. There's these little, they're just nail files. I just use them as a sanding stick, and they work great. You can get that to slide in a little better. Still a little tight. Can't get into every place, but if I can work this piece here, then I don't really need to worry so much about the blue piece and getting it better. But slowly but surely, getting it down a little better. I think we're all right here. Get a little bit more off this, and I think we'll be all right. There we go. Yeah, that ought to work. Not perfect, but it's good enough for what we need it for. Pick up some of that dust. All right, so I'm going to put it all back together. Right. Well, at least it snapped together nicely before, so didn't have to fix any of that. This piece is pretty smooth. Those are fine. They do have some registration marks to just snap in. together. Make sure it's smooth again. Make sure we're able to feed filament again. That's smooth again. There we go. Moving a lot better through there. It's nice enough. This piece in again. That moved a lot better that time than it did before. In, and that should lock it. There we go. That's good. Feed our filament in. Slides right through. I'll lock it in place. Maybe we lock it in place. Feeding filament fine, so that's good. It was a little tight. Okay, so we're good there. Double check our alignment again. Alignment's still good on both. Right. The anti-squish thingamajig that they've got mentioned there. That M36 doesn't work. The M310 is too long. I don't have any M38 flatheads, so we're just going to have to do without it. I'm not going to print flexibles on this. I've got a Prusa that I can print flexibles on. So now we need the NEMA 14. See where I put that one. There it is. And they don't show the wiring orientation. I'm going to have to shorten the cabling on it anyway, and I think the EBB 20 or 24, whatever it is, 2240, I believe that uses the even smaller JST connection. Those are going to be fun. I may just order some pre-crimped ones and splice wires together, solder them together or something, because yeah, I don't know if I want to mess with that. So I've got the stepper in my hand, and we'll do one M3 by 30. So there's the stepper, M3 by 30s, just one of them, and that is going in here. So that'll be this way. This one. This one. And I'm going to put the cables coming out the top. should be good. Have gears meshing, it feels like they are. Alright, an M3x8 and an M3 washer. And that is the same, right? M3x8 socket head. And I gotta remember where I put the M3 washers. There they are. Now this will be the second motor bolt, and this is what will allow the motor to pivot a little so that we can adjust the tension of it onto the gear inside the extruder. And there is an access hole here that allows you to get down to it. That's where I love my iFixit kit, but for some things it's just a little bit too thick to get through some of this stuff like this. That's where these dedicated drivers can come in really handy. Okay. Loosen this one here a little bit. That way we got better movement on that. Get it down, and it's a little too tight. So now we're trying to, now that we're in there, we want to get that gear meshed, but we don't want it to be too tight. We want just a little tiny bit of play in there. And that can be fun to try to dial in. Especially if everything's already pretty tight in there. I think I got it decent enough. Still a little tight, but I think that's due to other things being tightened down as well. That and my big fat fingers barely fit into where the gear's at to even move it. So we've got the motor on, gear plays good. So an M3x20 to secure this piece to here. To where? Now that's on the back side where the motor's at. There we go. Okay, M320. There and in here. And I think I grabbed M330. Yep. That's too long. Alright, M320 this time. Here there is a heat set in there to hold it. You can screw right into. Go. And then there's an M38 from the other side. 3/6 button head. M38. Just goes in right here. And there's a heat set in this cable piece as well to grab the, for your M3 to 8 to grab into. One that's a ball head. There we go. And once both of these are in, you can tighten both down. And that should be good. Next is M316. It says open latch, and the M316 is going to go through completely and stick out, and that's going to be for, looks like, our cover. So that's an M316. Here, latch is open. And it's threading into the plastic. I don't think it needs to, but I'm not going to complain about, well, yeah, it doesn't need to thread into the plastic because that's going to be a hinge, basically. So let's ream that out. Yeah, that's where the you're going to have a hinge there, and that's what that's going to be the hinge basically for the cover here, which that's going to get screwed on there. So this we do want to screw into just keep screwing in there. We got to get it flush inside there so that the latch can ride where it needs to go. And that looks like it's flush, feels flush, that's on. And then it's an M3 by 6 button head to go in here. It says to put one on, but we haven't put the tool board on yet. But just make sure it's all, just make sure that we're all pieced together and fitting together correctly. There we go. So that's nice, that's all together. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Take that back out. I don't need to take it out, but let's open that up. All right, so we've got the Nomi here. That needs to go in here. I got way too many Big Tree Tech stickers, it looks like. Alright, so this, wondering if I might need to plug it in and set it up first. Before snapping it in there. This is USB-C. What's my battery look like? That should be good. Alright, so the battery looks good. Let's do this. Let's plug you in here. So let's go back here. Let's see, I've got the Stealth Burner manual. Nomi, there we go. No, that's the picture, I think. That's just the picture. That's the receiver. Well, I guess we will just go get it from the Big Tree Tech GitHub then. Hello. All right. Well, it's asking me to connect to the wireless network function using my computer or my phone. So I know it's not going to be, I don't know, let's see. Lighting's not good. There we go. So I'm going to use my phone, see if I can get connected to it using their instructions here. I got the parts printed out. Of course, they are showing the airflow doesn't change. I'm guessing they're actually saying it's a little better with it, but at least it's not showing worse, or it doesn't look to be showing any worse. All right, so it says activate the interface. Probably going to have to redo it anyway because I don't have the printer set up. So let's actually just go ahead and get the wiring in that run. You can access, it does show here, there's a place to hit the reset button as well once you're in there. Once it's mounted, it's not like you can't change things later. But let's go ahead and see if I can get it set up and connected to my network at the very least. And then I may not have to do that. I may not have to do much on there other than go in and configure the printer once the printer is set up. It says it's connecting on the phone. I don't have a phone capture device, so yeah, it is connecting on the phone to the Nomi. So it says to connect, use a Wi-Fi enabled device, locate, connect to the BTT Nomi network. Let's see, connect to this only this time, yes. Not secured. Let's see if my Wi-Fi will pick it up. And it's saying actually enter your local area network Wi-Fi credentials and the printer address. So I won't have a printer address set up yet. So let's just get it put together. We'll skip configuration for now. And it looks like I've got enough batteries so on the mic to leave it unplugged and back where it was. So we're going to get the Nomi in. It does say to do the cabling first. So let's get the cabling in. There is a channel to run it through, modeled into the stealth burner front that BTT provides for the Nomi. Got to just unravel the cable first. And let's see which way we can go. Do we? So if I'm looking at it correct, you can just see this tiny little opening right here. Let's see if that'll go up and in there. And it does, and comes out. So that's good. So we're wired through. And then here's the Nomi board. That is tiny, tiny little plug. Wish I had kids. They could do this kind of thing where you need these tiny little hands and fingers to reach in there. The dog's not any help when it comes to any of this, so she doesn't have the dexterity wherever she's disappeared to. All right, so we are in and snug and smudged on the screen. There we go. All right, so I would need a mounting plate. It's just one of these little things here. Double check my voltage and ground. And then the mounting plate. It shows snaps in it's like this way here. Okay, well, I've got multiple mounting plates printed out, so if I break one, I've got another. looks in there. All right, so that's in, and it's not falling out. That's a good sign. And then they just go on, install the other self-burner parts. I need to install the fan, which I need to pull that out of the box. The other fans should be all the for the electronics compartment. Maybe I just need to get some RGB fans to put down there, since I'm going to have it facing up. Let's go back to Stealth Burner. Well, let's just go with what they've got for Stealth Burner then. Put my fans out of the way. And bring my other pieces in. Should be just those two. ERV. Oh. ERV, I don't know if you can see it, but this, I am using Revo Voron, which is there. I did not put the ADXL mount pieces, the ADXL heat sets in. I believe the SB2240 has a built-in ADXL, so there's no need to use an add-on board. But I do have the others in. Got the Revo. They show it going out on the left side there. So let's take that out. M3x8. They show to snap this on, route your cabling, and put this piece on before you do your screws into the Revo. So let's get that in there like that, and let's get that on. So that should be good. They say M3x16s. Go into the two screws at the top there. So M316s into these two. There, and that's where those heat sets are at. And that's the wrong one. That's definitely the wrong one. That's the one I need. I know this is hidden by the, maybe I'll have to change the opacity on that chat screen, but I want people to be able to read chat. And this one doesn't seem to want to bite. There it goes. All right, so once this is together, that will be everything with a Revo except for my Prusa. And I've got the Revo 6 to put in there. I just have to, well, it's not printing now. Maybe I'll do it sometime in the coming week or so. All right, so we are in. Does not look like I'm lined up, but I might be. That is the order of operations they've got here in the manual. They show put the Revo in, route your wires, put that cover on, and then secure it with your M3x8s. So I need my M3x8s. I need 4 of them. believe that's the same driver, yes. So now we've got, all right, there we go. So we just drop them in there and let's see if it'll catch. Feels like it did. And may not be as important here, but I always like to do the cross pattern anytime I'm securing anything down that I can do that on, just to make sure I get things in and even. There we go. All right. Nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. Then they say the PTFE. And that's really tight. Let's see, I think that was 4 mil outer, 4 mil outer. So let's ream that out to make sure it'll fit right. Okay, now it should fit in there okay. There we go. All the way in. Now they say 11 mil above the surface of the printed part. So let's mark that at 11 mil. And I'll cut it. I've got a cutter that I downloaded and printed years ago for my Prusa. That thing right, oh. I guess if I put it on the camera, it'd be easier for you guys to see. So I got that, and then I got a cutter here. Hey, Bill Brothers, how are you doing today? So I'm gonna get a cutter. I did make a mark on the PTFE. I don't have a single edge razor blade, but I've got my X-Acto knife. So we'll get that in here. And cut it right on my mark. And then I've got these little bits here to just kind of chamfer that entrance. I don't know. I haven't had any problem with anything when I've done. Normally I'll just take my X-Acto knife and do it this way. I haven't had any problem with that. But I've got these two to kind of make a little 45 chamfer on there. And that helps out, or should help out at least, with getting that to go in there. And then we just stick it back in. Take my little ruler, make sure I'm at 1 centimeter on here, but the first tick is also about 1 millimeter up, so should be about 11 mil. Should be good. Let's see. There we go. I've got the Nomi already in there, so we already got some of this. Let's double check supports. Do not see them removed. So We got to remove some supports. Here, here, and here. Let's see if we can put this up a bit. See if maybe we can get a little better, more visibility. There we go. And this one, oh, that one's still working. And we can probably zoom in a bit there. All right, that looks like that works too. Let's try that and see how this one will work. So we've got the stealth burner part. I had my snips out, and here we go. Just to remove these little bits of support. And of course I switch over to that one while I'm right-handed. And then these will snap that out of there. They are on the outside here. Get those snapped out. There we go. I'll have to pick them up later. So supports are removed, Nomi's in. Fun, fun, fun. Hopefully these resin printed parts are good and I don't have any problems with them. So that'll go. Probably would have been nice to have had these not be clear, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. Those snapped in nicely. I don't have another one, so we're just going to go with a clear diffuser mask, or rather, let's do this. Let's print that diffuser mask. That's probably 10 minutes. I've already got the dark blue loaded in the got the dark blue already loaded in the solid fork. Now that it works, let's get that printed. Opaque diffuser mask. I do have to set up, there we go. Yeah, 5 minutes. It'll take longer for it to heat up. So let's do that. That's going to print. Maybe. Lost communication with EBB can. That's not good. I did over tighten the zip ties on that a while back, so that caused some problems with the can. Let's go ahead then. We can go ahead and get the LEDs ran. The more support structure shows to remove. I don't think I've ever removed it. I've always just pushed it and broke it. I don't think I've ever actually removed them. So this is going up here. Let's get that out of the way. Here are our LEDs. So should be this way here. Well, that's rebooting still. So let's get that. I don't think I'll ever use the RGB. I like the plain white just so I can see what's going on. Okay. There we go. So two LEDs in. Get this wire tucked into the channel. My big fat finger's in the way. And that's not going to work. I don't trust that. Here we go. This will fit. There we are. Make sure that they're tucked down nicely. And that's not working. Unable to talk to the EBB can on my salad fork. I just printed with it this morning, so that's just annoying. All right. Shut down. I'm also getting low voltage errors on my Pi on it, so if I need to, the salad fork is right next to the V0. I can throw it on the V0 and print it out and get that done. Okay, so wire routing, sports, fan orientation. I did pull the fans out. There's one. Looks like they may, well, I've got to redo the ends anyway because I need to use the DuPont for the connectors for the EBB 2240. So this is going to blow inward, and they show the fan cabling up. Let's put these out of the way. I'm going to have to put that LED in before we can put that fan in. So let's modify this one. So for the part cooling fan, it needs to be modified. Need to cut the ears off and take the front cover off. Back here, so this has extra ears. But that looks like the right fan. So and the salad fork is back up. Let's see. We can print. I might have over tightened that. I might have over tightened the zip ties that hold my CAN cable on and caused a problem. All right, so there's that. And then I need to get rid of all the ears. Would have been nice to have just given me a standard fan. I don't think I've got another. I think this one's too big. Yeah, this is a Sunon 5015 as opposed to the whatever this is. Docking. Oh, that's a 5015 though. You know, I trust the Sunon more than whatever these things are. I don't know if it'll focus, but yeah, I don't know what brand that is. This looks a lot different from the Sunon. And this may not, no, it doesn't look like it'll fit. Let's just use what came with it, or try to. I want to try to at least use the stuff that they sent. De-earing this thing is not working well though, so that's going to go in there. That just doesn't look like the right size fan. It says a 2440 instead of a 5015. Oh, I bet you I bet you they, even though they said it included the parts for Stealth Burner, I bet it's still the afterburner parts. Check the afterburner manual. It's all right, I've got a 5015 and I'm much, the Sunon's probably a much better fan. Yeah, this is a 4020 for the afterburner. At least the 4010 is the same. Hey, and the Sunon doesn't even have an end on it. Granted, I still have to cut it down to size anyway. Because that's not, it's a much shorter cable run is going to be needed here. There we go. All right, so that's off. Now we just have to de-ear it. All right, I wish I wonder if my other snips are a little bigger. Open up a little wider. Yeah, the Prusa snips open up wider. There we go. And now that that's done, I can use these here. Now I'll have to shave that down a little bit, make sure it fits. All right. Yeah, those need to come down a bit more. Let me get my cutting mat. I don't want to cut through that nice mod mat if I can avoid it. But everybody should have one of these anyway. make some room. Too much stuff on the table. Good enough. There we go. Good enough. Don't want to cut myself again today. I haven't cut myself yet today. I just don't want to do it today. And the solid fork is heating up. It's at 73C on the beds. It needs to reach 105. I think I had the same problem on the other one where this was a little too big. If I remember right, that was the problem I had on the 2.4 was the Sunon's just a little on the larger side, even for a standard 50-15. But it does look like it's going to fit, so. I need to shave some more off is all. Okay. Where is... somewhere I've got my files, I'm sure. I don't see it though. Okay. Some slight modification needed to make the Sunon fan fit in here. But we're already having to do slight modification to any 50-15 anyway, so it's not like it's a big deal. And I just ran the vacuum last night too, or yesterday. That's all right. She doesn't know any better. She's a robot. There we go. So on the Sunon, you got to cut the flow path up here is too long, so you got to cut that off, and then you got to really shave the ears down good, and then it'll fit. So let's go back to the Nomi. So we've got the fan in, and now we need the daughter board. You'll notice that the ducky's not in here. I've already put him with his family on the bathroom windowsill. So now we have that board. This is going in here. this, looks like. And that is calling for, I'm not sure what board screws that is. Stealth burner calls for M3x6 flatheads. They're showing, so stealth burner's M3x6 flatheads. The Nomi install is just showing socket heads, but doesn't call out the size. But there are a couple in their bag here, so well, there's more than a couple in the bag. These aren't flat, these are button heads, but that's okay. Oh, 101. All right, so that's out of the way, that's out of the way. Now these are threading into plastic as well, so we want to be careful threading them in. And these just seem so long for this. Yeah, that's what they are. I don't feel it going anywhere else. They're not poking out. So yeah. And there goes the solid fork. So we are printing. It shouldn't take but a few minutes. It said 5 minutes. There we go. All right, that board's in nice and tight. There. So, Nomi power supply. Guessing they're marked. If not, they're color coded anyway. Don't see a marking on them. But that shouldn't be too big a deal. So we're going to wrap this up and around in the cable channel here. And underneath. And there is a lot of extra. I wonder if that might be, it's not quite enough. So ground is here. Ground is outside and power's on the inside. All right. Would have been really nice if there was enough to have gone underneath this board rather than have it sitting on top like that. I don't like that as much. Get my diffuser out. We'll see, because I'd much rather block it, especially with the white. I expect that's going to shine through. All right. Routing the cable. Nomi's installed stealth burner. The next bits on the Nomi after what we've already got done is configuration. We're away from configuration on that. Stealth burner. I got to figure that one out yet too. Bill, are you still in chat? All right, well, we are at the spot where we need to put the LEDs in. This is the LED carrier. I guess I could have printed it, but the color on it doesn't matter. I don't want to break these solder joints. Put my glasses on so I can see. Oh, a little bit better. Well, I would say it's done, but it didn't stick to the build plate. I did get a successful print off of this thing earlier today. That goes this way. That is very, very tight. Oh, nope, that just broke that part, so I guess I need to print it too. Let's see. Carrier. Let's cancel the one that's going and we'll just print again. And I thought, oh, it's only at 141. Okay. So we may just, let's see if we can get this printed off. Where we can go next. We're ready to mount. Guess what we can do, I'll get this printing the carrier and the two opaque pieces, that carrier that just broke on me and the diffusion blocker. I'll get those printed and then we'll go ahead and get the pull the frame back up. We'll get those mounted into the, we'll get the other extruder parts mounted into the frame to the tap, and hopefully by then we'll be able to put the LEDs all the way into the stealth burner before we close out for the day. We're going on 4 hours almost now. Doesn't seem like it. do that, and then I'll worry about getting the other. I can get this stuff done later, and we'll just have to get it done because I think I got to mess with the cabling on my EBB can here on the solid fork. I think I tightened the zip ties too much and probably broke the cabling. So let's set this aside for now. That aside for now. Get this stuff back in the bag. I like that it came with the little ferrules for the heater cartridge. That'll be nice to use those. Although what I might do is just repin the cable that came with the Revo and put the and then use that cable to connect to the CAN board, and that way if I need to swap the Revo at any point in time, I can just unplug it rather than having to repin anything. It'll just be ready to go. All right, let's put this up here. May have to change camera angle again. All right. Yeah, they're not going to be able to see the... I don't know if we can get it in there well enough. We'll see. If not, we can always change it. All right, so here is our EBB, or our CNC Tap, excuse me. And you can see we're not racked. Belts are actually pretty decent as it is. I'll still have to tighten them a little, but not much. Let's bring that all the way over here. Turn this that way. And see if we've got a decent enough angle that I can reach it and you can see it. So, stealth burner. Let's see. Oh, let's go to, I must have closed my CNC Tap. Okay. Not that it's a long manual. All right, so we've got those in. Extruder install. M3 by 10s. I think I've got some M310s, M312, M312. 16, 668. Well, where'd my other pack go? Hey, there's my file that I was looking for. M310s. Two of them. Okay, M3 by 10, and that will be our extruder. To go up here. Let's go ahead and put this one here. because I think I can still access those M310s from here. Hopefully my fat hands aren't in the way. Don't feel it biting. Let's take this down. There we go. One piece anyway. About the only thing I can see bad about doing it this way is I'm going to have to crimp this. But like I said earlier, I may just order some of the really tiny little JST connections pre-crimped. I think Amazon has them, and then just splice the wires together. I don't know if I want to mess with crimping those things. All right, so that is in. See if I can tighten these down a little better. All right, hey, look at that. That's good. All right, so that gets the tool head on. It'll be 25s and 50s for that. All right, let's send the print job. Let's see if it'll get done. It's saying 19 minutes. I'm printing 2 of each. I've always found, especially on small parts, it's easier to go ahead and print a couple extras while you're doing it. That way it's got plenty of time to cool. So we'll see. Let's see if I can get the camera over there. Oh, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't have the camera on, but we've got the tool head on there. Just need the front. So let's see. I don't know how much I've got room here on cable, but so far, so you're not. So, and we do have tap installed. You can see the red light in the back as it goes off, as it taps the build surface. So far it's working fine. I'm going to have to check that connection to the CAN board though, and see how it works out. I think I'm probably just over tightened my zip ties, and it's a little too tight there. And it's taken a little extra time to go through the bed mat or the tri-level. I need to mess with my start G code as well, because I want it to at least heat the bed before it does this. That's probably why it's taken longer, is it's 60C. But now it'll start heating the bed and then the hot end, and I'd want it to wanted to heat the hot end first, or to heat the hot end to 160, and then heat the bed to 100, 105, whatever it is. Then probe everything while it's warm. I don't want to go too hot though with the tap on the hot end, but I want it to hold that 160, because when it heats up like right now, it's going to heat up to 260, which means it's going to dribble ASA, and that's not any fun. Then I got that long string of ASA sitting off of there. All right. So we've got the extruder mounted. All we need to do now is finish up the hot end, and then electronics are pretty much it. Or this extra gear and grub screw in here is for the afterburner, not the stealth burner. I do have my end stops, so that'll go on here. I think for the day, since that's going to take at least 20 minutes, and assuming that it does print without failure, it's going to be 20 minutes off. It's already past lunchtime. I think for today we're going to call it, and then when we pick up next, it won't be next, well, it might be, maybe we'll do something, even though I'm on vacation, maybe I'll do one on Monday. We'll see. Keep an eye on the channel and see what I post. I'll post it. I'll post it, you know, the night before, or maybe a couple nights before, with the time and day that I'm going to do it, and maybe even there with the even with the vacation, maybe I'll have time to do an extra stream or something through the day. But we'll go ahead and call it here while this prints out. Think we got a good bit of stuff done today. Still got a good bit to go. Most of it left though is electronics instead of anything else. The mechanical stuff is basically done. So now the fun part really begins. The easy stuff's done. The fun part is yet to come. But I will post one a day or two in advance for the next time we're going to stream, to let you guys know. And everybody have a great rest of your day. If you got storms in your area, be safe. I know there's a few around the country right now, and I'm sure more around the world than that. So keep an eye on the channel for any updates on when I'm going to stream next. Like I said, I am on vacation next week from my work, but I work Wednesday through Saturday, so maybe Sunday or Monday I'll still go ahead and do a stream. The wife is working anyway those 2 days, so I'll have something I need to do. So I'll try to stream next Monday again, and beyond that, maybe we'll get another stream in next week while I'm off. We'll see, but keep an eye on the channel for any updates on that. And everybody have a great day, and thanks for watching.